Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS NA Challenger. We are going to be hopping into our next series, third series for the North American group for Group B. My name is Fear Dragon. I am joined by In Control. What's up?
Your new and creative ways to make that sound more confusing is, I like it. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're going to be hopping into Silky versus Kane for game number 3, or series number 3. And this is... this is going to be a fun one. This ZvZ, I think, is... So there's a bit of contention, at least, I think, between some people that I've seen predicting who's really going to be better, probably, in this situation. Silky versus Kane. I think Silky less known. Kane really well known from the past, but retired for a really long time and came back.
Yeah, well, I think it's almost a fresh look at both these players. Thought they both had nice series, but were, for the most part... Well, Silky, of course, had the closer one, but I don't think Kane goes into this ZvZ the same as he did against Scarlet. I think he probably views this as a much more equal footing and thus probably doesn't rely on putting it all on the line in those early aggressive strategies. That being said, maybe he just does exactly the same thing. I don't know, but I just feel like this will be a more close matchup.
Yeah, I think so too. And the funny thing about Kane is that he did retire and he's been playing very casually. He's been laddering for 3-4 months or something and played an absurd number of games, but just never really got involved in competing, even in online smaller tournaments. So his kind of foray into Challenger, it almost feels a lot like a, you know, why not? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, there is money on the line, and he's a talented enough player that certainly why not. And I think that's one of the kind of cool things about Challenger. We've been talking a lot about how these players want to make a name for themselves, but I think one of the other kind of fun things about it is that front door step into WCS. So if Kane has the raw talent to just why not his way into a deep round, then that's really impressive and amazing. But if these more hungry and determined players like a Silky or like someone trying to make their name through WCS can stop him and kind of get their momentum going, as to use the word you used yesterday, then that too is their story. That's where it can begin.
Absolutely. Well, our first map is going to be Backwater for this ZvZ, and like you said, could get started with some really action-packed start, but it could also just have a bit of a different feel from the earlier series of Kane versus Scarlet. Well, we're going to start down here on the bottom right. It's on top of the blue Zerg player. Give it up for Kane.
And his opponent in the top left-hand side, the red Zerg, it is Silky. Now, Fear Dragon, you're the resident North American expert. In fact, we're seeing a little bit of his kind of stats right there. He actually went to a Cheesadelphia.
Yeah.
Got third there. I mean, is he a young guy? Who is this guy?
So he is, I want to say, like, it's kind of relative on young, especially for pro players, but I think he's in his 3rd year at UC Berkeley. He's a computer science major. I think he's graduating next December. His foot size is 9, 10.
Okay.
I'm trying to get as stalkerish as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that would do it. That's the place that Suppy went to, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Was he competing in the TESPA stuff as well?
He actually overlapped, and there was a short period of time where Suppy and Silky were both pairing up in the Archon mode matches in 2016.
Cool.
They did fairly well in that as well, as you can imagine. But yeah, I think Suppy has since moved on, so Silky's kind of taken up the reins as the resident star player of UC Berkeley now.
Very cool. I like that there's a college scene as well. It's been really fun to see that develop.
Yeah, and of course we get to see that, I think, on Saturdays, pretty much right after the WCS broadcast now. So it was yesterday, last night. We had Cats and Kibbles here. I think they're the ones that mess with the mouse settings.
Oh, you're going to blame it on them.
I am going to blame it on them because they're not here to defend themselves.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a better way to do it.
Okay, well, we got, of course, the early pool that came out from Silky, and he's going to be going up against Kane, who decided, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to get up my own hatchery. I'm just going to get up my Baneling Nest, and is super ready for the defense.
Yeah, he's got speed queued up here. Not the same for Silky, who is going for the faster hatch, and is going to try to defend. The one kind of interesting thing there is that, yeah, I love this. Peel off that Zergling and take a look at the natural. If there's no hatchery there, you can get a lot of information from that. You can start to infer things like perhaps a Baneling Nest, if not spotted outright, or at least that speed will be coming. So right now, Silky knows that Kane is once again putting the game on the line here.
Yep, and he knows that this is going to be a bit of a weird hold for him because he doesn't have either of his gas geysers when you go for this kind of 12-pool opening. He didn't really get the damage done, but he did end up having to sacrifice a bit of that early game economy. Now, does manage to take out or at least force a drone to become an extractor for a little bit. As he sees, there is an attempt at taking that hatchery. That's also going to be important information to know how much of a follow-up is there.
Oh, wow. We got 2 Sunkens here, or spine crawlers, excuse me, already. And that's going to be quite the anchor. In the past, we've seen that Kane was able to get the cancellation on Scarlet's hatchery, and that was a nice little equalizer. But if he doesn't do a lot of damage here with just how much later his hatch is, he'll be in trouble.
Yeah, I guess I kind of am okay with the fact that he's moving in so aggressively behind the mineral line. He can escape because he has Zergling speed, and he should know at this point that Silky went for the 12 pool. He's not going to have those gas geysers. Zergling speed is nowhere near coming out, so he can kind of play around and just try and deny mining for a bit, I guess.
And that's all he can do. If you look at the production tab, he's making up some drones. They are fairly equal in the stat line, so it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. It's just that Silky's going to have twice the production here. And because he's not mining any gas at all, he can kind of front load minerals and make drones here and rely on the queens and these Sunkens too. Forget Spine Crawlers, darn it.
Yeah, Spine Crawlers.
Doesn't get the queen.
Yeah, that was really, really nice save. Good transfuse there from Silky, as he mentions, to salvage that situation. Actually just gets a couple of lings for his troubles.
And this map's unique in that on backwater, you can actually go ahead and take a third, because a lot of other maps, if you open up gasless like this, it's a little bit harder to get to that third. You rely on a huge kind of queen battery to extend yourself and get over there. But on this map, with those spine crawlers and queens, you can go ahead and take the third base before even mining some gas. Now, of course, he will start mining some gas, but that base is very safe and secure for him.
Yeah, I actually really wonder when he's going to try and go, for the wall in, that's what I was wondering about. The evolution chamber, the roach warren, it wouldn't be surprised to see another evolution chamber come down, with the queens just kind of plugging up the remainder of that hole. Oh, nice pick off in the creep tumor.
It doesn't, it super doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's like, they both equally benefit from that. That one's just nice to get the queen some extra mobility in front of the base, but not essential. So it's okay. Silky is going to take that faster third hatch at the third. Now, Kane has a similar situation in that because he has speed and is the aggressor, he too can take a third without really having any kind of fear of a counterattack or something like that. It's in a different way, and of course it has a little bit more of a clock on it.
Okay, well, Kane is going hard on that Spire play. 2 base economy, he's going to have 4 gas geysers shortly, but this is something that really has to get some good damage done because it's a big investment.
I also don't like it for this map. So basically what Kane's doing is saying, if you don't scout this, if you don't see it, it'll be really great. And of course, mutas always have the nice byproduct of having kind of mid-map control, but what I don't like about it is that mutas always threaten to sever off the main and natural from a third and maybe isolate it and kill it. But on this map, a couple of spore crawlers, and because the creep almost naturally connects the 3 bases, the likelihood of that happening is a lot less. So it's not that mutas can't work, it's just that they're less likely to work on this map to as great of effect as they could on another.
Okay, well, Silky right now does not have a lot of scouting options. The Overlord is starting to move forward, and it's going to become an Overseer, but it's going to move into the main base, not the natural where the Spire is. Are any Lings ever going to try and run in? I don't see any attempts from it from Silky, and actually, now that I think about it, there's no speed, so it's not likely a Ling would ever even get in.
Yeah, no, it's going to have to be the Overseer, and he might even end up scouting this quite late.
Was that a full wall off?
Oh. Yeah. He's not sure what he's facing because, to your point, he doesn't have that great of information. And Kane has already shown to be a little bit on the cheesy side, but that Spire is going to be spotted now. There is no real such thing as a fake Spire in ZvZ. If you make the Spire, you're going to make some mutas. The kind of question is, do you keep making them? And usually players stop around 12 or so. But sometimes if you go beyond that, it can really catch somebody off guard.
Yeah, I almost feel like at that point it's like semi-reactionary. Like, I've got 12 mutas and they're doing a lot more than I thought. Maybe I can just end the game with these. But yeah, like you said, a lot of the time it just goes into 8 to 12 mutas, and then you just pump out a lot of roaches behind it and just use the mutas to sort of supplement your roaches, get some map control, and shut down your opponent's vision.
Yeah, he's going to look to do that. But again, it was scouted at a decent enough time, so there are spore crawlers. There already was a number of queens, and the bases are connected. So we're going to have to see if Kane gets something done anyways.
Lurker Den coming down. Silky, that's an interesting one, because I would imagine he'd really want to invest into a handful of Hydras and worry about the Lurker Den later, but I guess he wants to be able to do a very quick and immediate follow-up to the Muta harassment?
That's just smart.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's an advanced chess play where you're seeing several moves in advance. It's not going to be mass Muta, excuse me. That's not really what people do. And they do follow up that ground army, the roaches or something.
Yeah, actually, more Mutas in production, though. Maybe he is going to really commit to this.
And melee upgrade as well, kind of. It could be something that he's going to do here.
Yeah, this really reminds me, I know you've been talking about True a lot today, but this is really like one of the true ZvZ styles that he went for. I think he really busted it out a lot at WCS Valencia last year, where he took on a lot of the European players just because it's such a weird and wonky style where you don't really have a great army for fighting up front, but you just take enough good trades from weird angles and harassment that they just somehow end up ahead.
Well, not even trade necessarily. I mean, yeah, you can, but it's more the counterattack. It's just anytime you leave your base ever at all, there's going to be a flood of lings and some highly upgraded mutas that show up and do damage. And you'll almost always lose the lings, but as long as the muta flock continues to get larger and you can kind of slow them down from getting to the natural predator of mutas like vipers, maybe infestors, then you're in really good shape. The problem with that is, again, not to beat this dead horse too much, but this map is really kind of constricted. So your ability to counterattack means you're going to have to go through that wall area. If there's any number of lurkers there at all, lings are going to be completely useless. And if Silky can get himself up to 4 bases, you can play the counterattack game all you want, but as long as Silky doesn't get overextended or make a mistake, he's in a favorable position.
Okay, Muta's trying to move into the main base. And yeah, considering the Mutaflock's size, there just hasn't been that much damage done with these Mutas. They've maybe picked off a queen, 5 or 10 drones. I don't even think 10 drones.
No, and part of the problem is he's showing him that he's adding more mutas. So if you start off and go like 12 mutas, and your player is, you know, oh no, he's got 12 mutas, but I'm going to only kind of halfway react to that, you could bait out things like lurkers. You could bait out things like they're not making additional spore crawlers. But if you show that you're reinforcing the muta count like Kane is here, it's signifying to Silky, hey, this is my actual tech, so keep adding air defenses, keep making hydras. And it's preparing Silky, because otherwise I think the strength of mutas is that information denial, the counterattack. But unfortunately for Kane, I think he's really broadcasting what he's doing here.
Yeah, he is getting up the infestation pit behind this, so maybe looking to tech into something like Broodlords, which can be very frustrating and difficult to deal with for a Zerg player that does not know they're coming. But we also see Silky getting up his own infestation pit, potentially just for the investors themselves.
Yeah. Now the Muta's trying to find some purchase, but the Hydra's just kind of waffling back and forth. The Lurkers were seen as well, so at least Kane did get some information where he can say to himself, I shouldn't rely on having to run by Lings either, because they're just not going to do very much.
Oh, okay, the Lings actually finding an opportunity to pick off some of the queens, but they do buy time.
Yeah, they get in there, and they're going to kill, I think that's 3 queens, a little bit of damage. The Lurkers, I mean, you don't have to put 5 Lurkers up there to stop that kind of a thing. It's just 1 or maybe 2.
Yeah, put them in the mineral line themselves, and then they'll actually get on top of a lot of those Lings, I think.
Supply advantage is here for Kane. It's just the problem of, as the game goes on, the Mutas, there's things that can really, really devastate them that start to become at play. And the damage he's gotten so far is pretty minimal. But they're both on 4 bases, so I in particular have been kind of discounting Kane, but he's definitely not out of this, and he's in position to, you know, collapse on one small mistake and make it really, really bad.
Yeah, I really feel like once that Hive Tech finishes up and he's able to start maybe investing into something like a Greater Spire, that's where I really feel like opportunities might open up for Kane, just because Silky may not be super prepared for something like that. But the Mutaflock is moving to the 3rd, and this is, okay, 4 spores, it's like a decent number, but I don't think it's enough for this.
Yeah, I think they're pretty separated. He's only fighting 1 or 2 at a time. But he's going to go ahead and kill a number of them and then jump on top of this base. This is the kind of damage I was looking for. Yes, he loses a few mutas, but if he can stop him from mining too consistently, that supply advantage becomes more impactful for Kane. He's going to back out of there, though. And I think the other kind of important thing to see developing here is Silky is noticing that the muta count's not really escalating that much either, so he should start to get hip to the idea that something else is coming.
Yeah, only lost 7 mutas this game as well. Kane's doing a pretty nice job with his general muta control. Snipes off one of those bases. Continue to deny any kind of map control here for Silky, who's been pretty much confined to 4, whereas Kane is able to invest into 5th base now.
Yeah, that's the least he can get out of that. If you have map control like this, to be honest, I would even say the 5th is a little bit late for Kane. You'll notice he's floating a lot of minerals. He's got a lot of gas. So there's going to be some kind of big switch here coming out, the Ultralisk Cavern nearing completion. But I would have liked to have seen him on 5, going on 6 bases here. because there's just been nothing. You use the word confined. It's a very good one. Silky has not been able to move out. He doesn't have any lings or something. If he did, they'd be fighting faster, better upgraded lings out there. So I feel like Kane should have capitalized more on this.
Yeah, and okay, the Ultras are going to be an interesting choice. I wonder how they're actually going to fare in this situation. We got the Lurkers that are going to be able to do a lot of damage to those armored units. Not something you traditionally get to see very often of Lurkers versus Ultras, but they do pretty good damage to them.
Yeah, Lurkers are pretty good against everything that they can hit. That Baneling force is making its way over here. I think most of the Lurkers picked up and went over there. An awkward run by opportunity is made here. And there go the Banelings trying to get the connections. Infestors are towards the front. They do get backwards, but Lings are inside, and these are very active Lings.
Yeah, they're going to get a ton done in both the natural as well as, well, maybe the main base. Yeah, running straight up into the main base.
Go after those drones.
Yeah, I think the other base, the third base also, you know, he hasn't actually killed that many drones so far. It's only 3 drones going down.
Yeah, I guess he's just kind of disrupted their mining. I would say that, I feel like I'm being overly critical of Kane, but one final critique, I suppose, is that he was kind of almost overly microing them. I think you just get them into the mineral line and let them do their thing or target a building or something like that to get some damage.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It is just Lings, so you can trade those out. And if you don't do a lot of damage, that's okay. You just can't keep doing that throughout the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. He's already spent, I mean, he had a 2K or something mineral bank not long ago. Now it's back down to 1K. Silky getting up his own bank that's actually larger and has a kind of scary looking army right now.
He does. There are Ultras out, though, but he can't afford to throw them away. There we go. He's going to back up here.
Okay.
Muta makes sure that this is just going to be the 4 bases, and there's the counter-attack threat of Lings. It's going to be a focused attack fight over here, though. Awkwardly on top of that ramp, he's going to use the Infested Terrans. That's just about all the energy off those Infestors. And the good thing for Kane is he can back away. That's not a critical spot. So if that was like at a base or, you know, in front of a base or something like that, then maybe he has to take the fight.
Okay.
I mean, that sucks, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's, I mean, the mutas were only so important at this stage where they're just trying to shut down the bases, but still a little bit annoying, still a little bit painful to lose those now since I think he still doesn't have enough. Well, I guess he actually has enough of bank to remax out.
Oh, yeah. No, and he immediately makes that into Ultras. And he's actually, I was going to say he might just jump on top of the Vipers, but it would be death. Loses some units, a little bit sloppy there. But that's okay. The big cluster of Ultras are making their way over towards that 4th base, trying to get a good spread. It's really just the Lurkers that they have to worry about. The rest of the army for Silky pales in comparison to those.
All right, there are those Lurkers there to finally defend that 5th base for Silky. Okay, looks like the mutas finally sacrificing themselves for a few more things, and the Ultras come running on forward.
Yep, kind of a weird fight over here. It's very confined. The space here is limited. In fact, I might, yeah, I think he's going to back out. Just fighting here is so awkward. Lurker's behind. He's not really getting in there. He is killing the Evo Chamber.
Overseer. Nice. He can't even see the Lurkers.
Yeah, not the best. Not the best execution there. He's going to back away with his tail between his legs. He killed a couple of Evo Chambers, but of course trading out like 7 Ultras for that is of course not worth it. Especially since he's just working on his Armor 2 upgrade, by the way. So Kane, with a little bit of lopsided, awkward upgrading. I think he has +3 attack on melee, but he's only at +2 armor. Yeah,
he even has, I mean, +2 air weapons for the mutas, but doesn't actually have the Carapace upgrades. But +2 Carapace is close to finishing up. He's going to use these links to try and deny this base once again. And he's going to get a successful deny. A couple of fungals being used to lock down those lings. And Kane, he's out of his mineral bank now.
Yep, getting close to max. I mean, there are 7 Ultras in production, so it's not the worst thing in the world to be out of your bank when you've got 7 Ultras coming up. And one of the nice kind of byproducts of his aggression, just to return us to this idea, is that his bases have not been touched, right? They have not been attacked. So I have said that I would like it to have been more bases available to him, but so far, he's at least mining from them unperturbed.
Yep, and of course has more bases just by the fact that he has the 5th base. But yeah, would love to have seen him take some more.
That is a lot of Lurkers, by the way.
Yeah.
How many units is that?
Let's see. Where are the Lurkers on that unit counting station?
I believe they are not showing. That is interesting, isn't it?
No, they have to be.
They're not up there, man, I'm telling you. Well,
no, 13, I found it, right here. Okay.
They just...
That was...
I don't know. Anyways, 13 really Lurkers, pretty good.
Okay.
And he'll be going towards Broodlord, same time as Kane. Both players going to opt for that Greater Spire attack.
Yeah. Well, Silky taking the top right-hand pace, it looks like it might actually go unnoticed for a while.
Yep.
I don't think that Kane is really going to put too much effort into scouting up there, especially since if Silky just took the top right-hand base, I think that maybe Kane would be like, oh, okay, hold on, you haven't tried to take another base. But the fact that he's trying to take both of these at the same time, I feel it kind of sells that story of like, no, I really want to get up this base.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The old classic 4 Ultralisk counterattack. Just trying to knock down that base once more. One of them actually can't even.
Oh my god, I think he's going to lose all of his Ultras.
I think that's a good call.
Well then.
Tracking, you are on your game right now. Those were dead Ultras.
Well, what can I say? I have a lot of experience watching StarCraft, so I can call these things.
Huh.
All right. The Corruptors are going to come out, and we got Kane finally teching up to those Broodlords. I feel like this is where, again, something could actually happen, and maybe a little bit more damage can happen here than with the Ultras.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Trying to figure out where you're taking that. You're like, something could happen with these. And I'm like, yeah, Fear Drag, I think it's something good.
Just staying safe, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the interesting things about this game is there aren't a lot of answers for either player. They're both going to Broodlords, and neither player is really equipped to deal with Broodlords. I think, if anything, Silky's in a slightly better position as he still does have some Corruptors. And I saw Vipers earlier. Maybe he'll make some more. Okay, now that's just funny. Literally a 2 Ultralisk run by.
Into the main base to kill off the Greater Spire.
Got it, too. That's expensive. The whole army has to respond to. It's funny because you can't really just send 20 Lings or something like that because they'll just turn around and kill that.
Yeah, there are those great moves where your opponent can have a huge bank, but you're like, this is not a matter of money, this is a matter of time.
Yeah. 206 supply for Silky, something you don't see very often, but he's very purposely made that possible for himself. Gonna have to remake the Spire, but if we can get a look at the unit tab, he's got some Broodlords floating around somewhere.
I don't know what Silky does. I know he made a bunch of Corruptors. I don't.
See, now I'm wondering if we're getting tricked again.
No.
But maybe not. No, I guess not.
Convinced.
So it is going to be Viper Corruptor. So that is the answer for Broodlords. We're just talking about how there's not really an answer, but that, of course, is exactly what that is. And then he is anchored by the Lurkers, which is going to dominate the ground game as well.
Yeah, typical 20-minute 3-meter harass.
4 more Broodlords for Kane. Now that, he's going up way up there. That's a lot. That's a lot of Broodlords.
Did you watch the last Wings of Liberty GSL Finals?
Yeah, but I was like 9 years old, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah, Broodlord versus Broodlord, if we actually start getting up into that point, if Silky decides oh, actually, no, Parasitic Bombs!
What's his anti-air?
What's his split potential? He's not splitting at all with these Broodlords.
No, he's bunching them, if anything, but he has nothing to stop this. There's 2 Corruptors showing up.
Okay, well, this is one way to obliterate your opponent's major investment. Whoops.
That's it. He just says, whoops, a good game. I mean, he was maxed out. He shows he over-invested in the Broodlords, like I was saying. He had something like 15 or whatever. Broodlords are that kind of funny unit where it's like, you hit a certain number and they can either deal with that or they cannot, but adding more to that doesn't change that interaction. You either have an answer. I mean, it's not 4. It's something like closer to 10. But once you hit that 10 number, you start to kind of think to yourself, I need to defend them, or I need to even tech switch somewhere else to kind of freak them out. But Silky waited. You know, I did the caster thing where I got way too ahead of myself. I was like, well, Silky's got Broodlords too. And Fear Dragon's like, no, he doesn't, Jeff, you fool. And it's because he was waiting for that moment right there. So well played by Silky.
Yeah, and I almost feel like that's one of those situations where so many players would get into that position where they play this elongated 20-minute long game. You really have to try. Yeah, that style is not easy to pull off, so it can be frustrating when you get in that situation, but I actually make the claim that Kane is the kind of person who just be like, aha, that was funny. And he just moved into game 2 and kind of unfazed.
Maybe unfazed, but I think one thing I want to take away from what you just said is it's interesting because, I don't know, I've watched a lot of StarCraft as well, and very rarely have I seen someone be like, I forgot that you can counter that tech, I'm out. Because he didn't actually lose any bases behind that.
Yeah.
It was just that he was so over-invested in something and so cleanly going to lose all of them for free that he was like, I can't come back from that good game. Yeah. Doesn't happen that way very often. I think one of the only ways that can happen is you take a guy that's very good, bring him out of retirement in a short couple of months, put him in competition, and have him have some of these situations that pop up where he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Parasitic Bomb, yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Well, we get ready to hop into game number 2. Silky is going to be feeling good in that losers match, at least being up 1-0, close to moving on to that ace match, that decider match, to see who the second player will be to move out of this group. But Kane still got a little bit of fight left in him and showed it.
Yeah, it was a good match for him. Like I said, I felt like his tech was really interesting. I think it was a bad map for it, but it got him to some good spots, and he could have won that game. It's not like he was completely dead. It wasn't Sol versus Nurchio or something like that, where we're just like the whole time, like, hey, all right, get out, you're dead. But in this case, it was just Kane making a mistake. Whoops.
Okay, well, I imagine he won't be making that mistake once again, but remember that that game opened up with a lot of early aggression.
Yeah.
So that may not have actually been Kane's original plan. We'll see if it was as we start down here in the bottom
production
left.
tab. Look at it.
Oh boy. We have our Red Zerg player not making any drones, just making a building. It's Silky.
Shout out to our brother Todd out there somewhere looking at the supply. Always looking at the supply. And right now we're looking at Kane. That's it. Yeah. Boom. That's all the introduction you get. So now the more time that goes away, I mean, it's looking like a hatch first, which is crazy because Kane, I want to say, opened up all 3 of his other ZvZ games with a pool first, which would have been fantastic against what Silky's doing here. But Silky, channeling these top-notch Zerg players, is making the right call.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to bust it out when he needs it. Actually, he went for the 12 pool in the last game, yeah.
I know. What I said is actually correct.
Yeah, that is very true. It was so long ago that I was like, wait a second, that did happen.
I had my fun juice in my break time, so my mind is like a diamond, just a diamond rock edge.
See, I still haven't eaten lunch yet.
That's not true. I saw you eating your grass. You had like a little grass pallet.
Yeah, I had some paper towels.
Kane went the greedy route as well. He's still just adding drones. Still, the spawning pool is it's a little over half. And he's, you know, this is about the time he'd be saving up larvae. He's, of course, going to do that now. He sees the lings. But he's in trouble. I don't know if it's necessarily game over, but it's going to be rough.
Okay, well, natural expansion. Usually you let it finish, and then you just use it to try and buy time. And it's kind of up to the 12 pooling Zerg player to say, okay, do I want to actually try and go to the main base, pick off some drones, or it's just going to try and kill off this hatchery? Since there are some more lings following this up behind this, it does seem like Silky really wants to get the kill on that hatchery.
Yeah, he has to at least. But here comes that drone pull. You can fight for this. It is something, but it's a hard micro. You need to lose no drones here. You need to buy enough time for the queen to pop out in these lings, and if you can, and hold on to the space, it's about equal.
Oh, cute micro over here from Silky, just segmenting off 1 or 2 lings to go after the drones, push them back as he micros around the hatchery, picking off I don't think he's actually killed any drones yet, though.
No, not yet. He's got a couple of the lings, but that doesn't really help him because when this queen pops out, she's just very powerful at this stage. So
oh my god.
Looking like a defense for Kane so far.
Yeah, it looks like a defense with 0 drone losses. This is really, really well done.
Not bad. Not bad for the old man Kane. Getting his Canadian education and then popping out of it, saying, what's going on in StarCraft? Whoops, qualified for WCS. Challenger, not bad.
Yeah, Silky did invest into the gas geyser behind this, which is something.
But so did Kane.
Yeah, well, of course, Kane invested in it super early, right?
I don't know if I'd call it super early.
I mean, just
did he invest in it at all, Fear Dragon?
It was a hatch gas pool.
Did.
Right? Yeah.
My troll senses are just flaring with you. There's so much blood in the water that it's like.
I can't read your sarcasm.
All these I know.
There's no sarcasm allowed here, Jeff.
Like, I'm thinking of all these vampire movies and stuff like that, where the heroine like accidentally cuts themselves, and the vampire's like, oh my god, I can smell your blood. Well, here's the next wave. So Silky's doing the classic ling mass at the top of the ramp. Don't see it coming. And that could be tough.
He has some really nice opportunities to evade the overlords too, because Kane's overlord got pushed back far enough.
Hold that thought, Fear Dragon. Hold that thought. Do they commit? Get in there. Yeah, they do. And yeah, he sees it. And his Baneliness is about to finish too. Kane. Well.
Oh boy.
Okay. But anyways, he sees this really importantly. I mean, if you don't scout that, you're just dead. He's got a 3rd hatch out there. That's a pipe dream. Yeah, I canceled. I was just gonna say you're not gonna. No, come on. Not today. At the very least, you're losing that. But there's no Banelings yet.
Yeah, Baneliness is not done yet, so he's gonna have to wait for that to finish up. He's gonna rely on the Spine Crawlers, but the Spine Crawlers are also not done yet. The Lings get in on top of this mineral line. This might be a bit of a wash.
It could be, yeah, even the Banelings on the low ground is where he's trying to moor from. That's not gonna happen. Spine Crawlers are dead. Drones are losing. The Queens of the ramp are losing their life. There's just so many Lings here, and that's gonna do it for Kane. He saw it, but just wasn't prepared in time He's going to make this weird Valiant stand with drones, but this is not the worker rebellion you're hoping for.
Yeah, he had one bailing, and it doesn't even end up finishing up, so looks like it will likely be it. Silky was already up 1-0, so this is going to allow him, as soon as he is able to take this game, potentially... he's still only up 2 workers. Hold on.
It's 24 army supply to 6, but Fear Dragon, I want to see you get through this.
Okay, hold on.
Hang on here. Hold on.
One good baneling.
One good baneling.
No,
it's right there.
He's losing the drones. He's losing the drones. GG.
Okay.
Look
at you sell that though. That was amazing. That is some WCS commentary where you're like, hang on, there's a baneling being morphed. There's someone who's like, this is over because they're listening to me, but then with you, they're like, but what if not? You know, it's super, super over. No. Kane, great guy. It's too bad, but it's fun because, again, like you said, he was being pretty cavalier about this, just being like, he loves StarCraft. Yeah. He's been watching it. Why not? We'll see more of him, I think. He joined a pro gaming team or semi-pro gaming team.
Infinity Gaming, yeah.
So hopefully he'll keep on with the dream because there are other WCS stops. But that does mean Silky is going to stay alive. And he's got 2 absolute monsters. Yep. He's got to choose between.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how he does in that match. Kane still walks away with $400 as well. So, I mean, I would say overall a good experience for him. Yeah. But our next match, of course, is going to be that winners match where we're going to see the winners match, yeah. Where we're going to end up seeing, of course, Scarlet versus Semper. Stay tuned for more WCS NA Challenger.